Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome to another Total War Pharaoh Dynasties guide on worshipping gods, devoted generals, favor, all of the above. This is going to be all about the religion side of the game, and this is one of those things similar to the court system, where I get a lot of questions about this on my videos about, what's the best route to go. Ultimately, yeah, some gods are better than others, but really it's hard to kind of make those lists because depending on your
We live in
playstyle
an
and
age of
situation.
prosperity.
Yo, chill, Ramses, I'm talking. Depending on the way you want to play, uh, even the timing of where you are in the campaign, you're able to swap gods too, who you worship. So some gods may be better in the beginning. Some that do more of your, more of your influence may be better in the beginning as you're expanding and conquering. You may switch that to happiness or resource production, dependingly. There are penalties when swapping gods, and we'll get into that. But again, I just want to kind of preface that by saying, while there are some gods that work really well with factions, depending how you want to play, it's up to you. So we'll go over each of those gods as well too. But to start, let's quickly go into the faction summary, because here on the right hand side, when you open this up, it will give you some advice about how to use your god for your faction. So just kind of giving you a little bit more intro, especially if you are playing a major faction, this will be detailed. So whoever you decide to play, major faction, take a look at here, because it will go ahead and explain exactly the benefits you have with the current god you worship. So favor works a little bit like this. Activating the local deities up here, you can go ahead and check your favor level. Okay, you gain favor here by constructing things like shrines. Okay, and also building things like temples here. So within your building tree, you can see on the far right hand side, there is a religion temple that you can build. Okay, so these will also gain favor, and they're a really great way to gain favor. Now, you want to start focusing on that favor early, because what you're able to do is dedicate a general. You're able to devote a general to the god once you reach a certain tier. So devoting a general essentially gives him permanent stats. Okay, so let's click into here. We'll see Raw Egyptian. This will give you an overview of what you get for building those shrines, what you get from praying at the shrines. So you can move your general and essentially activate a buff on you that's lasts for like 3 turns or so. There's also in your tech tree, you're able to extend the duration of that buff, and there's also items that can extend that duration too. Okay, for devoted generals, this is what I was talking about, to where once you reach tier 2, you unlock this category. So you saw with a lot of these buildings here that these give you that favor. So favor plus 50, for example. So once you hit that threshold and you get to this 300 tier, clicking through here, you'll see that your shrines will improve, your prayer gets better, and also you're able to unlock that devoted general. Okay. Now, that said, when you are going ahead and wanting to devote generals, you would just click on your local deities. This will not have a lock on it. You can click on that, and then you would select your general. Okay. Now, the thing is, you can also lose favor. All right. So if your shrines are getting destroyed, or you lose a settlement that has a temple in it, and you fall below that threshold, your favor will drop, and you'll actually get a debuff on your general for a few turns because of that. So it's gonna like drop his morale and things like that. So you just want to be mindful of that favor, and accordingly, if you lose that tier, your benefits that you get from these will also decrease. Okay. Now, the cool thing is about this is that you're not stuck by worshiping the same god the entire game. So by clicking on local deities, I can go ahead and go to all gods. This screen will then tell me all the gods that I've discovered. So if they're grayed out, that means I cannot discover these. I have not discovered them yet. So you can discover this god by capturing settlements in unexplored realms, or by gaining new allies from distant lands. Okay, so I'll show you exactly how to find where to go. So here, for example, Ra, you can kind of hover over him and see what you get. Now, say for example, I wanted to worship Ptah instead. Okay, I can go ahead and switch worship. This will then say, because I can't worship multiple gods right now because I haven't unlocked that in the tech tree, and I'll show you what that looks like. It's going to go ahead and cost me and also do a conversion until all the religious buildings, so all my temples that are currently devoted to Ra, will get switched over to Ptah, okay? So let's say we do that, and it also says your current devoted general's army will lose morale, okay? So it's similar if you, because you're not worshiping that god anymore, or it's that similar morale debuff you would get if your tier of worship was lowered. Okay? So here now, if we go into our tech tree, you can then see your royal decrees that there will be some tech trees here, god dedication slot +1, for example. Okay? Now there's also other tech trees that will give you the chance for god dedication slot +1. Okay? So there's also other tech trees that will allow you to devote multiple generals, so like 2 generals per god, for example. Now the cool thing is in worshipping multiple gods, you can go ahead and say you have a shrine of Ra here, and then you have in a different province, because you can only build 1 shrine per region. Say in this province, say I had a temple of Ptah here. I can go ahead and move my army, get buffed with the buff from Ra, and then activate on this shrine and get buffed with Ptah. So you can actually stack shrine buffs, which is pretty dope. Other than that, we won't get into a 10, which is a ancient legacy that you can unlock that allows you to merge multiple gods. That's a whole different video in of itself, but just so you understand that there is a Egyptian ancient legacy where you're able to merge multiple gods into one god, which is pretty sick. Okay, now that said, let's just say, for example, we have multiple gods that we're worshipping. Okay, so say if I had unlocked this, you can go ahead and click this religious buildings, and it will show you a list of all the buildings that you have for that god and the favor you're generating. So when you are worshipping multiple gods, what you could do is open up this religious buildings, and then you can go ahead and easily click through and kind of balance out what temples you want to convert to gain favor into that other god, because it's all favor based, right? So if I have, say for example, if I'm at the top tier here at 800 and I have, let's just say 1200 favor, that's a bit of an overkill, right? So what I'm able to do is then go here and convert some of these buildings to worship the other god I have. So this kind of plays a role further into the game where you have a lot of land, a lot of different temples, have unlocked that tech tree. So just keep in mind that that's possible, and this is an easy interface to do that with. Okay. All right. Now, we talked about switching gods. We talked about covering shrines and temples, different gods and locations. Okay. So if we were to look at our gods here, and we were to say all gods, okay, this will show you, if you go ahead and click into them, where they can be found. So Kush, Western Desert, for example. So I can say if I don't have this guy unlocked, but I'm like, oh man, I really want this prayer. I really want this devoted general. I want to find this to worship. You can go ahead, you can see that I can click on Kush, and it'll actually take me to where I would need to conquer to then unlock that god so that I could worship it, right? So other than that, you can go ahead and hover over these different areas, and you'll see this pop up here under, says province, region, realm, gods. You'll also see the gods that are associated to that area. So conquering these areas will then unlock those gods for you, that you can then go ahead and swap and worship. Now the cool thing is, say for example, you can check out your Egyptian gods that are most relevant to you. However, if you kind of send an expedition out and go conquer other lands, other gods will open up to you as well too. Like Yam, for example, we could see, okay? And for this, while this is still kind of in that Egypt area, if you were to send it, say, to Greece, you can unlock Greek-related gods. And the cool thing about that is that if you're worshipping multiple gods, their benefits stack, right? So there's a lot of similarities between certain gods across different regions and starting locations. So just be mindful. That might be some like 10D chess play you're trying to do, but ultimately, you know, just know that that's an option. All right, so the final thing here is let's just take a look at all the gods, all right? Now you have the Hittite gods, the Mesopotamian gods, and also the Aegean gods. Now, what you'll do here, for example, is by hovering over them, you can see exactly what their benefits are. Okay? And as mentioned, say for example, Set, right? If I'm a very like missile focused faction, okay, and I get a lot of like benefits to my missile troops, if I have a lot of my ancillaries or my traits built out into, or my you know, my faction leader has a lot to do with
Destiny bound.
if my faction leader has a lot of titles that are related to ranged units that I want to pursue, then I might want to build into him, right? There's also you know, just understanding that transferring gods and also transferring that when you convert buildings to other gods to worship, it's going to cost you some resource like gold. So just be mindful if you are trying to make that switch to have the gold to back it up. Okay?
Egypt's finest.
Other than that, we talked about unlocking different gods and locations, switching worship, getting the buffs with multiple gods, unlocking the worship and unlocking and worshiping multiple gods, devoted generals, multiple devoted generals, shrine buffs, all of the above. So that should set you up on your way. Hopefully you found that useful, and if you have any other questions of maybe something I didn't cover in here, just go ahead and drop it in the comments. You know, I think taking a look at the gods and just kind of familiarizing yourself with not only what they do, but also where they're located is going to help you out in where you might want to progress to build the best combination of gods to worship, okay? Now, there's also an option, if you customize your campaign prior to launching it, you can have it set to where it unlocks all the gods to begin with. So you won't have to go discover land or become an ally with somebody in a different region to unlock their gods. You get them all at once and can really have a lot of fun with that. So just know that that's an option too. But with that, yeah, this will kind of end the video. Thanks for tuning in, and let me know if what you want me to cover next. As always, I really appreciate all the comments, all the likes, all the new subs that I've gotten since the launch of Dynasties. It really means a lot to me, and it means even more that I'm able to kind of come through and provide some help for people who are interested in playing the game, people who are currently trying to learn how to play the game. But some of these things are learning curves a little high on this Total War game. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.